Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us to kick off APA LA's 14th annual Off the Clock photo competition. I'm David Robin, board member of the Los Angeles chapter of American Photographic Artists. I'm joined by this year's honored Off the Clock jurist, Karen Marx, director of the esteemed Howard Greenberg Gallery in New York. But first, I wanted to give you some information about APA and our mission in case you're unaware. APA, or American Photographic Artists, is a not-for-profit association celebrating our 45th year. Our mission is to educate, promote, advocate, build community, and partner for success. We have 9 chapters in cities across the United States. We were created by photographers for photographers, from emerging to seasoned pros. We're an all-volunteer organization, and members are invited to participate and engage with the photo community. If you're a current member, thank you very much for your membership. If you're not, please join the community. Your voice, of course, is very important. The more voices, the stronger and more effective we are as a community. And membership, of course, has its advantages. We have discounts for members for our live events. Some of our live events are panel discussions. Women in Photography was our most recent. And then we had a celebrity and entertainment photography event. All of our panel discussion events and most of our events are sold out with waiting lists. So that gives you an opportunity to get in early and get a discount to come to these live events. We also have inspirational events with photographers such as Nadav Kander, Frank Ockenfels, Miranda Penturin, The Rhodes, ABD&M, to name a few. And of course, educational events. We have Legal Lounge with our attorney of record who discusses topics such as copyright law and, of course, contract law. We also have lighting workshops. Membership only portfolio reviews are very, very popular. We have one coming up this month. We also have competition discounts. For example, Off the Clock competition coming up shortly here. Your membership will allow you to get discounts on every single one of your entries. We have also access to members of our online content, sponsorship discounts, Apple, Sammy's Camera, Think Tank, to name a few. We also have Hire an APA Pro, where clients can find you, and a beautiful source book and member features on our website. And of course, take advantage of our online portal, which includes topics on inclusion, business, legal, copyright, tech talks, marketing, portfolio reviews, events, and competitions. And visit our website, sign up for our newsletter, follow us on IG or your favorite social network, and check out our YouTube channel, which has a robust library of content. Now, a bit about our 14th annual Off the Clock 2025 competition. First of all, it's a unique opportunity to present your inspired personal work to the world. You have unlimited number of entries. There are no categories or content criteria, just your best and most beautiful personal imagery. It's curated by an influential visionary from the international photo community each year. This year, of course, it's Karen Marx from the Howard Greenberg Gallery in New York. She will choose 100 images out of all entrants, and those winners will be included in the beautifully printed catalog sent to influencers in the advertising, publishing, fine art, entertainment, and graphics industries. We also have an online gallery of the work for the winners that will be up in perpetuity on our website. And winners are featured in our social media feeds throughout the year. Also, we have a gala to celebrate the winners, and where the work will be shown, and the winners and their guests will be able to meet influencers within the photo community and folks that hire photographers. So call for entries is on now. Go to apa-la.com or apanational.com. Make sure to enter early and enter often. You have unlimited entries. I wanted to switch gears here and give you a little background about the Howard Greenberg Gallery. Since its inception over 40 years ago, Howard Greenberg Gallery has built a vast and ever-changing collection of some of the most important photographers in the medium. The gallery's collection acts as a living history of photography, offering genres and styles from pictorialism to modernism, in addition to contemporary photography and images conceived for industry, advertising, and fashion. Maintaining diverse and extensive holdings of photographic prints, the gallery includes such masters as Eugene Auger, Henri Cartier-Bresson, Bruce Davidson, Andre Kertész, Gordon Parks, Edward Steichen, Paul Strand, Edward Weston, Bernice Abbott, and Arnold Newman. More recent additions include Edward Bertinsky, Joel Meyerowitz, and Vivian Mayer. When you are in New York, make it a priority, as I always do, to visit the Howard Greenberg Gallery and get inspired. Now, a little bit about our guest today. Karen Marx has been the director of Howard Greenberg Gallery in New York City for the past 23 years. Recognized as a leader in the field, Howard Greenberg Gallery is one of the largest photographic galleries in the world, and Karen has curated and overseen hundreds of exhibitions, many receiving high praise from esteemed publications such as the New York Times, among others. In addition, Karen has placed many photographs with museums and private collections internationally. As a graduate of the School of Visual Arts, as well as a professional in her field for more than 40 years, Karen understands photography and has a strong interest in looking, viewing, and finding intriguing new work. With that, please enjoy my recent phone interview with Karen Marx. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how you doing, David?
Good. Thanks for joining us. And of course, thanks for taking your time and lending your expertise in curating off-the-clock competition. It's an honor for all of us.
Thank you.
So I wanted to just start by drilling down a little bit about your origin story, how you went from being a photo student to being curator of one of the most famous art galleries in the world, or I should say photo galleries in the world.
Well, being a photo student, so when I finished SVA, I was working at Swan Galleries in New York, and Swan is actually a leading auction house for books, but they were just breaking into the photo market, and so I was lucky enough to get a job there, and it opened up a whole new world. Clearly, the world was growing rapidly, the photo world. And through that job, I met all the dealers in the business. And little by little, I got to know each one. I started to work with one exclusively, a brilliant mentor at the moment. And I worked with him privately for 3 years, and he taught me how to sell pictures and a bit of history, more than I knew. And who was when I was ready to work with Howard, I gave him a call, and within 2 months, I was working with him. And he's a very generous, warm person to work with.
So let's talk a little bit about, obviously, in going to SVA, you learned how to print traditional methods, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Probably silver. I don't know if you worked in platinum, but probably silver printing.
Yes.
So I wanted to hear a little bit about your relationship to traditional methods and craft in general, and appreciating current work as it comes through the gallery, maybe new work or portfolios that come across your desk. How do you weigh craft?
Well, I mean, craft is a big part of photography. Um, whether it happens in the darkroom or whether it happens in the computer. I'm a purist. I come from the analog world. I learned the craft of making a black and white photograph. So having that, in my veins already, I think gives me just a little bit of a leg up when I do get to look at prints. Um, there's nothing like the pure vintage print. The warmth of the paper, the tactile quality of the feeling of looking at something. And I truly believe that this is not necessarily objective, but I think that when there's some magic that comes off paper in a photograph, everybody gets it. Not just the experts, not just the people that appreciate it, but anybody that looks at it gets it.
Is it the tactile quality of
I think it's just the pure nature of it.
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I mean, I think you can sort of relate that to any good photograph, regardless of how it's produced in the end. I think when you're looking at a good photograph, you feel it in your soul, but you don't have to be a visionaire, or you don't have to even be in the visual arts to understand that that makes you feel something.
Okay, so I wanted to drill down also a little bit about your role in the gallery in working with Howard and the team in deciding who you represent, who the gallery represents. What's your criteria? What's your process?
Sure. Um, we are probably an unusual gallery where it's a collaborative process, our gallery. Howard has always been a collaborative partner. He likes to collaborate, he invites you to collaborate. And so, having that as a mentor, I have then in turn um, involved my staff. And I believe that you gotta love what you're selling in order to make it work. So if you don't understand it and you don't love it, it's going to be difficult to put it on our walls and sell it. We are always open to looking at work. We are, I think, a unique place where we've done exhibitions for ICP students, and we've done exhibitions for the Bronx Documentary Society students. I mean, we've done these sort of events where we're generously able to help the community in that way.
That's wonderful because it first of all, that's wonderful. I don't hear that from a lot of gallerists
Yeah.
because and I also want to first of all, it's wonderful because you're aware and you're thinking ahead of fostering the next generation, which helps everyone, which is mutually beneficial for everyone. Is there a method for you reviewing new work? How does it come to you?
I mean, the first step is email. And that's always opened and looked at, I promise you. You may not get a reply, but it's looked at for sure. I can't tell you that what we're looking for. You'll know it when you see it, kind of thing. Um, we're a really large gallery, so we have many genres within our space. So we're a large gallery, so we can go in many different directions. We're not tied to any one subject. So we're open to looking, always. I'd like to see what's going on out there too. I'm curious. I go and see as much as I can. I'm lucky enough where I can say that I don't have to be in the gallery full time any longer. And because of that, I really do go out and look and see work. And I would say I'm pretty diligent about it. Um, so looking at work is definitely important to the gallery as well.
And your curiosity is an asset because you see it, and I think correctly, you see that as first of all exciting for you,
Hmm.
as it is for anyone that loves the medium, to
Hmm.
see what's being done in the
Yep,
medium and to see who's doing something different because
that's
it's
right.
the
That's
medium's
right.
been around for a while. Is there something new that how somebody is seeing and what's
That's
going
right.
to
Or something, is there anything new that somebody's saying also?
right.
Our gallery has always been heavy in journalistic work. So looking at that kind of work is also important to see um, how are street photographers working? How are journalists working? What are they showing that's different than what we've seen before?
So that's that's interesting because there the other folks that you also represent now are there's some contemporary folks in there.
Yep.
There's folks that are fashion. There's folks that are so I'm um, what is the thread? Is there a thread?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I I don't think so. I don't think that there's any real common thread. I think that it's always been about 20th century classic work. I mean, that's always been the parameters, classic. Um, and what we mean by that, even you can bring contemporary artists into that mode where if they're still working in a classic way, then there's a thread, you know. Bratinsky, is somebody that he's not really new to us. He's been with us for many, many years, but he is certainly one of the stars that we've brought on. And he's very, very different genre than what Greenberg is typically used to. Small black and white uh, street pictures on the wall, Photo League, FSA, that kind of thing. But if you look at Bratinsky and you look at Greenberg, we're still very much doing the same thing. I mean, he is essentially sharing what's going on in the world, and that's what we've done in a certain way. However, we need to get it across, it's still a message. Um, and that may be the thread in a certain way.
Do you collect photography? Do you personally collect? I see one on the wall.
Oh yeah. Do I collect? Well, I I have bought some pictures in my life, but most of the work that I have has been gifted to me. Um, I'm happy to say. Um, and I live with it. I've really been blessed and I'm so grateful that I've known a lot of amazing photographers that, through the years, whether it be a getting married or having a kid or an anniversary or a birthday or, it's just like pick something. And many, many times I would turn it down because I'd think, oh, I'm not worthy. This is too great. This is too generous. But maybe in the last 10 years, I've gotten a little smarter. In the early days, I used to buy photographs when they were very, very affordable. Um, uh, Maybe some contemporary work, but anything that I have that I really treasure is a gift.
That's wonderful. Now, what about photo books? You and I, before we
Okay,
have this conversation, we talked about photo books and
books is another problem for me. I
yeah,
have
your relationship to photo books.
It's big. It's big. I think I love books maybe more than pictures sometimes. Um, Books are my friends, and I have way too many. Um, you know, they take up way too much space. They're way too heavy, but a lot of them have special meanings to me. When I look through them, I may remember where I was when I first saw that work or why I'm attracted to it. Makes me feel good, makes me feel bad. Um, my books are the uh the it's the most stuff I own are books. The most stuff because I don't like a lot of stuff. I'm not a minimalist, but I'm not I don't need to fill my walls. But books are my most stuff. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to sell them. I mean, I actually, we do sell books in the gallery a lot. Every day we sell books in the gallery. Um, and it makes me feel really good. And that people are spending, good money on books and we have plenty of books to sell. But yeah, books are friends and they're like their little lives of their own in there in on your shelf and they definitely warm my heart.
I think you and I are on the same page. Emerging photographers, emerging talent. Um, how do you feel about books as being inspiration for them? Because as we discussed, Instagram is one thing. How do you see classic work informing the newer talent coming up?
Sure. I mean, I think there's a huge difference between looking through a book and sort of scrolling on your screen, obviously. Um, as we discussed, a book is what you come back to time and time again. I mean, maybe you can save things on your screen and go back to it again, but there's nothing like making a commitment to sitting down with a book in your lap. And I use the word making a commitment because some books have become like 40, 50 pounds of weight, 3 or 4 volumes where you pull it out and it's like, okay, now I'm going to really spend time with this book. Um, I think that there's nothing like turning a page and feeling the next image, it, the sequence of the way it's put together, how books are laid out. Does it bleed to the edge? Is there text on the page? There's so many different ways, the binding, and artist books also are a beautiful way of expression. Um, but I do think it's important, if you possibly can, to create a library. I think it's important because, again, it is inspiration. Even just looking at the bindings could be inspiration, if you don't have time to open them up, but know that they're there to go back to. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's first of all, that's wonderful inspiration for the younger photographers to hear that from a gallerist and hear one that's so steeped in the medium that there's always touchstones,
yeah,
and that's wonderful to hear from you because yes, contemporary influences are wonderful because there's some new things being done,
sure.
but
And it's
also
instantaneous and it's cool because you can just, you think about it and you pop it on your screen and there it is. If you're savvy and know how to do all that stuff. Um, it's a lot easier to just pull a book off the wall, off the shelf and just start flipping through it and try and really understanding who this artist is, what this artist is talking about. Flipping through a book, I think it really it helps you get closer and a little bit deeper to even a specific time in an artist's life.
do you still make photographs?
Ah, well, I haven't pulled a camera out in a really long time. I certainly use my phone a lot, and yes, I do make pictures on my phone. I transfer them to my iPad and I edit them on my iPad and I crop and sometimes I even know when I'm shooting a picture that I'm going to crop it on my iPad. So. Um, yeah, I definitely, and it still makes me feel good to make pictures and play
Right.
with.
And so that keeps the juices flowing. That
Yeah.
keeps, yeah, that's wonderful. Is there, and it's up to you how you want to go about this question. Is there a particular work, artist, or genre that you personally gravitate towards?
Um, you know, I think that's a very subjective question. I think that I gravitate towards this one day, I gravitate towards this another day. I think for me though, the kind of work I really it, I maybe that moves me the most is emotional stuff, emotional stuff, not necessarily beautiful still lives, which are lovely, or beautiful landscapes, which are, also incredible and not easy to make, but something about emotional work, um, images of people, images on the street, artists like Roy de Carava, artists like Bruce Davidson, artists like Saul Leiter, um, these even Vivian Meyer, artists like these, but then you pull a name out like James Corrales, who or Homer Page. who also like, who are these guys, but they are amazing photographers, doing it well before anyone else was doing it, cutting to the edge and cropping. I mean, really making heavy, emotional, dark images. And what De Carava did in the darkroom is just pure magic, just pure magic, and we represent somebody like Alex Mioli, who is a contemporary artist working with Magnum. And his images are also like deep, dark, and delicious. Can I say that?
Yes, it's not a dirty word, and the censors haven't gotten to us yet, so we're
You.
good. I think delicious is safe.
It's so, I mean, just incredible, these are the kind of pictures that move me. Um, uh, a perfect, the decisive moment, on the street. Um, those, yeah.
So that leads me to the question regarding, is there any work you've seen recently that stops you in your track? I know that we talked about a particular artist at the Whitney, and I
Yeah.
wanted to just preface this with it's not just photography. You're influenced, and an artist should be influenced by all medium, whether it's the
Yeah.
written word. So who have you seen recently that stopped you in your tracks?
Okay, well, I'm like, again, blessed to be living in New York City, blessed that I have two good legs and I can get around, and blessed also, even when it's really cold out, that it only takes me 10 minutes to walk to see some of the best art in the world. I live close to the Whitney Museum. I saw the Amy Sherald show recently, and she blew my mind. Um, just the delight of the exhibition, the the colors, the way that she uses her paint. I just felt so proud for her, and so um, ecstatic by, and charged up, truly charged up. And then I went over to see Dubuffet at Pace. And I mean, that's like it's like it's an amusement park in a small space. The way that the sculptures are working, the way they painted the space, I mean, fantastic, just fantastic. Oh, also, if we're still on the subject, okay, Irving Penn, the corner portraits, also in Pace. They made corners in the gallery and they put the photographs in the corners. The way they constructed these corners, they made a star out of like 5 or 6 walls, and they made this star like where they had I mean, it was incredible. I mean, that kind of reinvention of looking at some work that we've known, we've seen, we know these portraits, but to see them in a different way, that's inspiring.
That's
You know,
interesting. As a gallerist, to not only be inspired by work you've seen before and get re-inspired, if that's a word, um,
designing the
but
exhibition.
designing to inspire people to look at the work in an environment.
Yes. It's almost so important these days, the designing of the exhibition, because the work has got to be incredibly strong for it to be on white walls and you're going boom, 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 boom. That's the show. I mean, these days, if you can do that, you're really pass and go at 100%, because the design, looking at, I mean, even just older photographs, like I said, pictures we've known, pictures we've seen in a new way, bringing a whole new idea into looking at pictures we've seen before, I think is really important. I think we need that. We need inspiration in the design of the space.
Well, and I think talking about so much of society is used to looking at imagery on a screen.
Right.
Um, the difference of looking at, and we talk about this, looking at actual prints on the wall
Right. I mean,
takes
and
you
also being in the environment of, of the space. However, like I said, even the Dubuffet show, the Dubuffet colors are so bold, and this blue, this royal blue that we know of, that he used quite often. Like the whole back wall, just the back wall painted that blue. And that kind of simple way of sort of uh, visualizing the work in a whole, in a space, it becomes very important for the viewer. It's another dimension in looking at work, another way of looking at work, another way of feeling.
it makes perfect sense. It's not just looking at a flat two-dimensional piece of art. It's sort of like the perfect martini. Martinis are martinis, give and take. It's where you're drinking the martini.
Ah, right.
So
That, yes.
right. So I think that's the same goes for art. I mean, we can stare at our screen all day, and that's really
Sure.
expeditious to be able to flip through images on your screen. But the commitment of going to a gallery or
It's
going to,
important, and they're all free for God's sake. You can go and spend a whole day bopping in and out, in and
right.
out. It's all free. Maybe you're not going to see anything great. Maybe you're going to see one thing great. Maybe you're going to see 10 things that you absolutely love. But you will definitely be inspired. You will definitely see something new that will maybe not trigger your work today, but maybe tomorrow it will trigger your work. Maybe somehow in the subconscious. It's not the pen corner photographs. It was seeing them in corners. I mean, that we can look at that book a million times, and we know those pictures, Stravinsky and Capote, but seeing them in corners, tight like that, the way, and the viewer getting in tight like that into that corner to see it even closer, and feeling the subject tight in that corner also. It was a very, very cool um position to put the viewer in.
Well, and at the time for Penn, it was groundbreaking,
Yeah,
and I think what you're speaking to is the viewer gets to experience what the subject experienced,
exactly.
and what you're seeing in the photograph is how the subject reacted to being cornered, basically.
Yes,
And it
yes,
was brilliant on Penn's part to do that, and it was
yes,
brilliant to display them in that way so that the viewer gets to feel uncomfortable
yes,
or trapped
yes,
or
yes,
understand what the subject must have been feeling.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't a slow process because if I'm correct, it was shot 8 by 10,
Yeah,
so it wasn't a slow process. So these people were
right.
stuck in that corner for a while,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep,
So it's
yep.
fascinating, fascinating. So let me move on, which is it's related to photographers now. But how do you place the importance of current artists, whether they're seasoned or emerging, exploring and creating new personal work, maybe getting out of your comfort zone as a
Okay.
photographer?
So, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do, get out of your comfort zone and try new things. But I think that in personal work, that's your avenue to do that. I think that if you need to converse, if you need to express yourself in some way, I think it's very important to express yourself in personal work. I think that when you're able to make a living as a professional photographer, however, whatever that means in any aspect of that. But there is a side of you that you feel you need to explore, then by all means, and I think that you already have a kind of a leg up in a certain way because you know the ins and the outs of the craft. So I think it's important to explore all avenues, always.
And there's techniques that are evolving and exploring new techniques that might be able to help convey from your work too. Yeah, wonderful.
It's cool. I mean, I think it's cool. Some of the stuff, like I said, when I transfer onto my iPad and I start, playing around, I mean, it's cool stuff. I'm not sure how long that cool feeling lasts.
Right, right.
I don't, for me, I go back and I look, oh, I made a comic out of this, or I did, this is in newsprint now and that kind of thing. And I think, I don't know, do I still feel as passionate about this as I did about looking at, Bruce Davidson or Saul Leiter or De Carava? Not really. Not really. I'm still a purist in that form, and I'm still moved by gut reaction.
The content and how it,
Content.
yeah,
The content of so however you make it,
right.
And whatever the vision is, that's the most important thing, is
Right.
key.
Yeah.
Content is key.
Yeah, wonderful. Let me just jump to, we're about to wrap up. Let me just jump to, you want to talk about the current show up at Greenberg? Or do you want to talk about the future show, which you had mentioned to me in our previous conversation?
Yeah, let's jump to the Staff Pick show.
Okay, great, wonderful.
Because Raheem is having his day, and I think we're all very pleased that we're working together with Raheem. Next show up is always a fun show that Greenberg Gallery has been doing for a while, which is called Staff Picks. And basically, we have a staff of 12, 13, 14 people, depending on the week or the month. And we invite everyone on the staff to select, 3 to 5 pictures, their favorite pictures. There don't have to be any kind of thread. They could be completely disparate, but 3 to 5 that they really love. And we invite, like I said, our bookkeeper, our framer, our shipper. I mean, everyone in the gallery gets on board with this. Everyone in the gallery is an artist anyway, so it's not a far leap from them. But it's a really, really fun show. We dig deep into the inventory, into the boxes, and usually it's a pretty big array of a lot of different kinds of pictures, and pictures that don't get seen very often.
This staff pick thing sounds wonderful because it's, like you said, work that you don't necessarily get seen.
That's
So
true.
what are the dates?
So the dates run from May 28th to July 31st.
Oh, great. It'll be up for a while.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
Okay. Cool. So I just wanted to thank you so much, first of all, for this wonderful insight into your vision and sensibility, Karen, and taking this time. Also for lending your expertise to Off the Clock competition. I believe that you will have a wonderful time looking at the work that comes in. It's always a great experience for everybody. And your skills, your expertise, your background is going to be honored. It is honored by all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I just want to mention to folks listening that get your work in, go to apala.com or APA National and look for Off the Clock competition. Get your work in now. The submissions are open. Don't wait till the last minute is all I'm saying. All right. And Karen will get a chance to see your work.
I look forward. Send me lots of pictures.
Oh, you're going to get lots of pictures. All right, Karen. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
So much.
I'll see you again soon.
Yes, definitely.
Enjoy. Thanks again.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.